Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me, as always, is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Did you feel it? Did you feel it, Darth? Did you feel the darkness creep around the podcast just now?
You want me to just say where you live real quick?
I almost spilled the greatest secret known to man, and then we both went absolutely insane, and we had to restart the podcast. It's the first time ever.
You know, the funny thing is, I didn't even think about you saying where you lived. I thought you were going to say I didn't hit record.
I've done that before too. No, so we were yakking away a little bit there, and we just started getting a little bit too personal into where we lived, and I'm like, yeah, not that I don't.
Serial killers are a thing. I don't think that they're Star Wars fans, but they might be, and I don't want to find out.
Yeah, not that I don't
way.
trust all of you fine Star Wars fans, but I also don't talk about where I live on anywhere. You know, and I've even told you that on some of the YouTube stuff we've done for like my YouTube channel. I think I made you change your shirt once or whatever.
Yeah, I had a work. No, I think I had a work hat. I can't remember, but yeah,
whatever it is. But anyway, folks, welcome back. We are going to be diving into the third episode of season 1 of The Bad Batch. What was it called?
Replacements.
Replacements.
I can't believe I remember that because my phone was not on this time.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So we'll be talking about that, and then we will be going through issue 3 of the High Republic comic, and then issue 11 of the Darth Vader comic, or affectionately known as the Hand comic. Let's not do any inference into that. So we do have a lot to talk about, obviously, but I guess we can just go ahead and start here because we normally start at about 20 minutes in. How's your week been?
You know, we were 9 minutes in and we didn't even bring that up. We were talking about nostalgic things, so that was kind of weird.
That's true. Yeah, you guys
shouldn't have messed up. You shouldn't have messed up. It was something different.
You guys missed an amazing, nostalgic 8 minutes, but now you're never going to get it.
We'll never remember those toys we were talking about.
How's your week been?
Hot and long. It's been uncomfortably
Hot and
warm
long, huh?
in a weird way. Because, like, I'm at that weird stage where half the day I want to keep my hoodie on. Half the day I can't. It just depends on if I'm in the shade or not, and it's just annoying, and I'm burning because I have pathetic skin. I've already burnt myself, and it was like 60 degrees the day I burnt myself.
Dude, we
My
need to
skin
get you some
sucks,
sunscreen,
dude.
Man.
I've got sunscreen. I just didn't think I needed it yet. I did not think my skin sucked that much.
No, it totally does. Yeah, it has. It's been warming up here in Ohio, but it starts off really, kind of chilly in the morning, and then it keeps heating up
Frost
a bit.
on the ground, and that's like 70 degrees. It's annoying.
Yeah, I mean it's a very pleasant, end of spring kind of time. It's good for getting out and going around. We are supposed to get a reasonable amount of rain this coming week, which is rain, but
as if we didn't have enough last week.
Well, yeah, for sure. It has been very wet, for sure. So it's been long, hard, and wet so far this week for the
Put away wet? Is that the term?
I would hope not. Oh man. But anyway, yeah, it's been kind of a boring week for me. I haven't really gotten into a ton. I did watch some streams with footage from the new Resident Evil game, The Village, which...
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that before recording.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge, I don't really play much in the way of games anymore, let alone, a lot of new games, but that actually looks pretty sick. And I've played the early Resident Evil, the crappy
the ones that were stupid hard.
Well, they're hard, but they're also terrible movement and just blocky polygons. But yeah, it was actually a very interesting story because I know 7 either you liked or you hated, and I thought that it was it felt really small for some reason because you were just dealing with the house.
Well, you're just in that house, so yeah, that's the smallest setting you've ever had in Resident Evil.
Technically, yeah. I mean, it was still big, but it was, and I don't know, for some reason, just felt like a smaller, more contained game. The story was interesting in a way, but then you get to 7, and yeah, everybody's all about, oh, look at the big tall lady. Well, she's only like a part of the game. She's not even the main bad guy.
Right.
You know,
Which I didn't really realize that until
not
you
a
said
lot of
that.
people did. Like, to be honest,
I know there's a dude with glasses, but is he the main bad guy? The
no.
dude with
So
sunglasses?
essentially, you have one main bad guy. I don't really do. It like literally just came out. I don't want to do.
Spoiler alert.
I don't really want to do too much in the way of spoilers, but I mean, the main bad guy's name is Miranda, and then you had like 4 lords of the village.
So she's one of those 4.
No, she's like the top dog, and then there are 4 other lords. The guy with the glasses, his name was I can't remember his name, but he was so cool, and the voice acting for him was hilarious. Like he honestly was just hilarious. But there was one level with I can't remember any of the names, but she was the doll lady. She had like. There were a bunch of dolls in the house. Honestly, dude, I would like to live in that house. It was sick looking.
Really?
The graphics, the designs of the different houses and manors were awesome. Even the village with the little shacks and everything was just pretty amazing. And it wound up. I didn't think it was going to be much of a Resident Evil game, but it totally was. Mm-hmm. It totally had a great twist at the end that was really satisfying, and it really sets up because I think that this. In the timeline leads into 4, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the timeline which makes me believe, because I don't believe 4 has been remastered. I almost bet
they're in the process, but not yet.
I think
so that would actually make sense. That's coming out here soon.
So I think that's the rationale because they pointed a lot towards that. But the thing is you're still following along with Ethan. His new daughter Rose, and then his wife Mia.
And then wasn't there a girl as well, Evelyn?
No, Evelyn was in the first game. So Evelyn
she's not in this one.
No, Evelyn was basically the what was she? She was like a little.
Oh, she was the one daughter of the family.
No,
wasn't she?
No, she was like some little psycho child that Mia was transporting. She was basically like a bioweapon or something. She controls the mold or something. She was the grandma in the house. Because grandma wasn't. She was like playing grandma, shapeshifting. But
oh, really?
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah. However, so you follow with Ethan, but towards the end, you get to play briefly as Chris Redfield, which is pretty sick.
Yeah.
I was never.
Those were the games I grew up with, like 1 through 4, a little bit of 5, even though it's kind of weird with the whole boulder punching and whatnot. But
they've tried some stuff. I don't know. I think a lot of people like Leon.
Leon's pretty cool.
Leon's cool, but I guess he was a little too anime, and Chris was more. It's funny because one of the memes was Chris Neckfield because he always had this giant beef neck. So Chris Neckfield, but I don't know. I always just kind of liked him better, and I'm not crazy well versed. I know I've played a few of them, but if I'm remembering, I don't remember if it was the first appearance of Chris, but it was a multiplayer, and he had that girl in Africa. Like their mission was in Africa. So if
that's 5.
That's 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So
that's where he punches a boulder and goes up against Wesker with an RPG launcher.
Okay. Yes. That is correct. But I thought that was interesting to bring the 2-player element into it, and that was kind of cool.
Kind of took away the suspense a little bit, but it was fun. It was different. Yeah,
and you're right. I will say though that I think the only criticism that I've seen people say about the Village is one. It was super buggy upon launch for PCs. So all the PC gamers was like, I can't point and click. I can't shoot easy. Which, with I first person shooting on a controller can be difficult.
Better.
No, I think it can be difficult. Dude, really? On a computer, you point and click. You just put your mouse on it and you press a button.
I guess I'm just used to it at this point.
You have to be used to it. And I'm not really used to it. But the other thing is that people were saying it felt too easy at times, which I think is I don't know, man. They have normal seem pretty. It didn't seem easy, but the only thing is that you don't have to worry as much about space, like inventory management. There's no box to put stuff in. You just carry everything or you sell it.
That's nice.
So you get a lot more space and you can purchase more space. And ammunition did seem a little bit more plentiful. And heals. Heals were a lot more plentiful. Like, I will say that it did seem like there was a lot more ability to heal, which I mean is good. I guess, but I don't know.
It depends on what you're getting out of your Resident Evil games. I mean, the last one I played was the remake of 2, which 2 and 3 were my favorite because I really like Claire and Jill.
2 was sick. 2 was good.
Yeah. I mean, I still remember having that dual disc version of that for the original PlayStation where you could either play as Leon or Claire, and if you were a sadist, you'd pick Leon because it was always more difficult, and I don't remember why. But they did basically the same style. You started as Claire, but you could go to Leon's story after, and it was super difficult. You had to manage your space, your items. Ammo was scarce. You had that one dude following you around all the time that became a Nemesis. Meme cannon for a while. No, that was 3. 2 had Mr. X.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah. You know, one of the big guys. Come on.
The best meme ever was him following you around with X gonna give it to you playing in the background.
Yeah. Rest in peace, DMX though. He died a little while ago now, but
less than a month, but
okay.
Hard to believe.
It is. Yeah, it's crazy. He wasn't all that old.
He was like what in his late 40s, 50s, something like that.
Like that, yeah. Overdose, unfortunately, but yeah, it's too bad. Talented guy for quite some time. But yeah, no, the Resident Evil, that seems to be pretty good. I think that at least from game design, it seemed to be really on top of it. There are a lot of games that have come out that just look like crap. I mean, we obviously had like Fallen Order, which was a sick game.
Yeah, and I do need to replay that now that we've gotten all the add-ons, but even Squadrons, I haven't gotten into that yet.
No, I haven't been interested in Squadrons still. But yeah, I mean, with like Cyberpunk being such a memey, glitchy nightmare for people.
Another big update. Maybe they fixed it.
Oh, well.
I'll wait a year to play that, honestly. I don't want to.
I think it's. I don't know, dude. I think it's kind of like what was it? Fallout 76 that got everybody up in arms.
Yes.
I think it's kind of like going down that route. Just I don't.
Yeah.
It looks stupid. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I watched some of the basic plot. I thought it looked stupid.
The story's cool in a way, but I mean, it's more of a story that I would enjoy. And I've been waiting for this game for a while, and I did enjoy it for the most part, even with all the glitches. I didn't run into all the things people are talking about, and I have a base Xbox One. I mean, I should have a lot of issues.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even have the upgraded 4K one. I have the original Xbox One with 500 gigabytes. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But I mean, the story was great, but I almost feel like it would be better as a movie. Honestly, just, an hour and a half, 2 hour pop, and the side quests are cool, but I don't know.
But what about Johnny Silverhand?
Johnny Silverhand is okay, but he's a trope. He is a living trope.
Yeah, it's too bad. I don't know. I think, there are certainly good games and flops. The unfortunate thing is that, games, you beat them, and in a lot of times you don't necessarily have the replayability, so people forget.
Right. Unlike Skyrim and Fallout 3 and 4 and all that stuff.
Yeah, and where the hell is the next Elder Scrolls? What are we even doing right now?
We need another remake of Skyrim before we can do that.
And that's the thing.
Because it's not enough that we're on a handheld Skyrim at this point.
Nobody wants another up-res Ultimate Collector's Edition of Skyrim. What we want is
it'll be on Series X and the PS5. You know it will.
Well, I'm not gonna say it won't be, but like I still love going back to Skyrim. But the issue is that while that engine that drove that game, and it also did, was it New Vegas?
Fallout.
Which were the Fallouts also ran on that?
The other one that used that, Fallout 3 came out around the same time. It was like 06 and 0.
Well, what was after
Fallout?
New Vegas?
Fallout 3 was Fallout 4 would have been after.
I think it was Fallout 4 that ran on the same engine.
Yeah.
So that while that
but
engine
3 did too, and that was from 06.
Okay.
And Skyrim came out in, was it 2011?
Maybe. I wasn't a big Fallout person. I get the allure. I just never got into playing them. But while
it's goofier.
Yeah,
I get
sure.
that.
But while that engine was super good, it also at times can be clunky. It's not, I wouldn't call it outdated, but I think that there are ways that you could update that because there are beautiful games like Sekiro, God of War, and if you could just engage on that level, but with a true open world like Skyrim and Elder Scrolls has always been, dude, you'd be killing it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Skyrim was amazing, but they did kind of go with quantity over quality with a lot of the side stuff and everything, which was fine. I mean,
I still felt immersed. The only thing that I would have liked to have seen is more people.
Yeah. And honestly, my thing is, like, everyone keeps buying these new versions. Like, why is anyone buying Skyrim on the Switch? I'm sorry, call me an elitist, but if I want to play Skyrim now, today, and I want it to look slightly better than it did when I played it on the 360, I'm going to boot up my gaming PC that's like 6 years old and do a couple of high-res mods.
Yep.
For free instead of buying it again, and the game looks brand new again.
Yeah,
it's fine.
100%. That's what you would do. But I still love going back into that world. It's very immersive, and
it's different every time.
Yeah, for sure.
The funnest thing to do on that game is start a new character and be like, okay, I'm going in this direction. I'm doing everything I encounter in this direction until I hit the end of the map. Every time you find something new. Every time.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I always pretty much go straight for Riften to get the armor for the carry ability. That's the first place I go. Anyway, I
get all the Thieves Guild stuff for that. It's pretty sweet.
The Thieves Guild is always pretty cool. They kind of nerfed the mages line where Oblivion had a better mages line, but the Thieves Guild is a lot cooler, I think, in Skyrim. But anyway, and then you can fight wars and stuff. Yeah, you got to pick a side. It's great.
And I'm sorry, I don't know how you played the game, but it was hard for me to ever play that game and not end up a sneaky archer. Every freaking time.
Brute force, man. I'm the tank. You
did the barbarian build.
I've always been the tank. Even playing WoW, I was always the hard charging paladin tank.
My first character when I did the Elder Scrolls Online, I did a tank, and that's still, even though going through the story and fighting things, I was super weak. I couldn't die. But it was going to take me 2 hours to clear any mission because I was just whacking them with a wet noodle, essentially. And
well, that seems like a personal problem. But no, man, I that's just always how I've gone. It's like I'm always alone. I don't have followers or anything. I remember back in WoW, several times I'd log in. And, I mean, I always, had a pretty decent character there, too. Like, you want a tank? It's like, no, man, I'm just going to go here and do my own thing for a little bit. You have fun, though. I'm going to go play with my dog a little bit and shoot some things.
Right.
Anyway.
I remember for a while I ran the healer route in ESO.
Yuck.
And it really just made me hate people.
Yuck.
It really did. It really did. I just wanted to kill my squad mates all the time. There was a few times where I just straight up stopped healing, and people would get all mad about it. It's like, you guys are idiots. Die. I'm done. I'm done with this stress. I'm not your nurse.
Yeah, no way, no how on that, man.
Oh, and I got Stardew Valley finally.
Oh, did you on the Switch?
Yeah, I'm only on like day 4. My land still needs a lot of work.
We'll have
still
to
clearing that.
We'll have to get together after this and start a multiplayer map.
Yeah, because don't they have a map that has like 4 sections
corners,
for
yeah.
4 player?
So yeah, you could have up to 4 players, yeah. But we could do one of the large maps and like have a multiplayer. It's like you just have to build a hut for it. It's pretty simple. You know, hit on all the ladies back in town. You know, sell all the goods, not to the shopkeeper because he's an a-hole. You know.
I've just been throwing my stuff in the box. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just
go bully the wizard a little bit, you know, on our off days.
Oh, there's a wizard.
Yeah, of course.
Can I learn magic?
No. He's kind of an a-hole. That's why we go bully him, you know. Nah, it's good. Actually, there were a couple of interesting things in Skyrim. One of them was the I don't remember that. He was like a drunk guy, and if you got to know him well enough, you'd eventually see him like on the edge of a cliff, drunk, passed out, and he'd be talking about like literally like committing suicide. Like he was basically inferring that it would be easier to throw himself off the cliff, but he's a coward. And he's like, "Well, where's the command prompt to jump? No, totally. Let's get you out of here and clean you up and put you to I mean, they like literally put him into rehab. It was there's also some overtones of potentially like the shopkeeper's wife probably banged the wizard to have the kid that they did. But anyway, there's a lot of weird stuff in that game. But it is fun if you just
see. That's
why
that's what I love about it, because I've never encountered that.
Well, there you go, bud.
And I've put so many freaking hours into Skyrim. Now I got to start Skyrim again so I can go deal with this drunk.
That's right, man. Yeah, so we'll have to do the co-op contingency plan land plot in Stardew Valley. Yeah.
And a Skyrim playthrough at some point.
There you go, for sure. All right.
Have all of our viewers vote on how we should play the game and whatnot. Are we going for the war first? No, we're going to get we're gonna go get through Brotherhood again. Okay, that's fine.
You know, honestly, whenever I run into the Dark Brotherhood, I kind of just want to murder them all. Like, I don't even want their crap. Oh, yeah. I just want to murder all of them.
Oh, I want their crap. I want that armor. That armor's sweet.
Well, they do have good drops, but
although the Nightingale armor was way better for Thieves Guild.
That's the thing. Thieves Guild was OP. So.
And then Companions Guild just sucked. Everything about it sucked.
Well, yeah, everybody just marries the one chick from the Companions.
Yeah. And then you become a wolf.
Yeah, you become a furry. It's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into back in the Star Wars. We effectively did. We got like 20 minutes out of that. We didn't even talk about the other stuff we were talking about.
Well, I'm sorry. We got two comics, and we've got 27-minute episode to go through. We need some filler here.
Yeah, we'll work it out. All right, folks. Well, let's go ahead and get right into the Bad Batch episode 3. So. Yeah, again, not a crazy long episode, just basically 27 minutes. And this this is kind of the classic, in my mind, kind of the classic tropey episode of, oh, our ship's breaking down.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Spoilers, by the way. I did kind of laugh. Like, Omega is seriously, one day she's gonna snap at these guys, but right now she's like trying to be like the perfect, kid, daughter, whatever. And she's laying on the droid who's like on his side.
Yeah.
It's like, are you comfortable? It's like, no, I'm perfectly fine. It's totally cool. Yeah, Wrecker, have my weird yellow food stick.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't need to eat. I don't need a room. I'm perfectly fine here. Thanks for kidnapping me.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine living in terrible conditions with my iPad. She's just like a kid. She's just sitting there watching her iPad movies. She's probably watching that unboxing kid right now. She might be a little old for that.
She's literally that meme of the dog sitting in a house that's on fire going, this is fine.
Yeah. Omega, I thought I told you to stop watching those slime videos. Just one more. Put your iPad down. Oh, goodness.
It's got to charge. Give me my iPad. It needs to charge. I want my
It's
iPad.
It's ran out of batteries.
Or coaxium, whatever they run it off
Yeah,
of. Who knows?
sure. Well, anyway, the ship's in pretty bad shape, although I don't understand how, because it's not like they've been in a battle with it. But yeah, they're not running too good, and basically they crash land onto a planet, and the kookiness ensues. They have a replacement part, but then it's stolen. And then they have to go get the replacement part back. And, it's a fetch quest.
Yeah. And of course, Omega has to do all the hard work because she's the only one that'll fit yet again.
Yeah. And I mean, it is obviously that we're trying to make her fit into this group, like provide value. So she's basically becoming Natalie Portman's character in The Professional. Basically. Yeah. And I think I mentioned that on the last episode, maybe.
Yeah. You know who else she reminds me of a little bit? Both Daxter and Clank.
Jeez.
It's like you're going through just wrecking stuff, and it's like, I can't fit through there.
Yeah.
Hey, Clank, you want to fit through there and be like a spy for a minute and like figure that out?
Well,
yeah, sure.
They're coming out with another Ratchet and Clank game, too, with a new girl character.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Completely replacing Ratchet, huh?
No, Ratchet's there, but there's two.
He's just got a girlfriend now.
Yeah, it's the same, his species, whatever they're called. But yeah, I guess they're transported into another dimension, and she has Clank for a while, and Ratchet has to go look for him. Which, if you remember, that already happened in, I think it was 2 maybe, and it sucked not having the helicopter pack.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, anyway, back to our episode here. Yeah, I mean, it does feel we need her to fit in. I mean, but she's a kid, but they really seem to need her to fit in, or we're really trying to push for her to fit in to this particular crew. And she, we have this little part where she finds Crosshair's gearbox. It's like, is a pot in here? No, that's Crosshair stuff. And they really are seeming to drive home the point that he's not really in control of this. And it also is a concern of our clones here as Tech's trying to build a device to check on the chips. And I think that they are a little worried too about potentially losing themselves as well.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We have this little scene where he's back in that little device being indoctrinated again, activating the chip, whatever you want to say it. And it's almost like, interesting. So he's obviously going to be able to fight this off. And it feels like eventually we're going to have that episode where he's isolated from the Empire and he's eventually going to revert back. I feel like that's how we're going to get him back if we do get him back.
Yeah, either that or they kind of attempt to rescue him and then figure out a way to deactivate the chip, possibly. That could be a thing. And this also could potentially lead to the other 2 clones that were along with Rex as well. How did they break their chips?
Right.
So that could tie in a little bit to that maybe later.
Where was Rex when he had his removed? I'm drawing a blank.
Well,
there.
he
wasn't on Kamino, was he?
No, the thing is if you remember back from 7, him and Ahsoka fought and he hit his head. You remember the whole hitting your head thing?
Yeah, but I thought he actually went through the surgery to remove it.
Yeah, and then they but that's kind of how he snapped to his senses a little bit. But yeah, I think and apologies, folks, it's been a while since I've rewatched that, and there's too much that I have to remember in a day's time. I forget a lot of stuff. But I'm pretty sure that they then were able to get it removed. But because I think I do remember us saying it's he just hit his head.
Right.
He's good.
Yeah.
However, we do get a piece here that it doesn't really come up so much in this episode, but I feel like it will. Wrecker is complaining of a headache, that he hurt himself, maybe he bumped his head in the crash.
Yeah.
Kind of wondering
he's activated.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of wondering if that is something that's going to happen in a future episode where Wrecker attempts to turn on them.
Which, I mean, we all make fun of Wrecker, but I wouldn't want to deal with Wrecker
No.
if he turned on me.
No, like a determined, not funny Wrecker would be
Yeah.
highly dangerous. Highly dangerous. And I wonder if that's maybe even a part of his programming. You know, when you think about it, it's like he's obviously very strong and dangerous, so we're going to give him kind of a simple mind or like a sense of humor in order to counteract like basically being a mindless, senseless, violent sociopath.
Right. Makes sense.
Well, we also
and then we always have our moment where Echo gets activated because I'm sorry, the excuse for why he's not affected by it, it's just not enough for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think that I feel like it's a little bit more plausible because, I mean, who's to say what if that chip would have potentially interfered with the Techno Union's technology in order to plug him in and control his mind or whatever. So, I mean, I think that I think it's viable, but yeah, I understand the concern for sure. But with that being said, we also meet another character, Rampart.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Couldn't
name.
think of something a little less generic, I should say.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm just not so sure about that. But yeah, so we have Rampart here, who towards the end of the episode is I would assume probably elevated at that point to Admiral by Tarkin, and he seems to be the person that's going to be heading up this transition from clone to conscripted service, which is interesting because we saw him on the Holo in the previous episode.
Yeah, talking about the chain codes.
Yeah, but he's not really. He seems like he's a completely new person, but interesting, I guess. Could have some not so bueno stuff going on there, maybe. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you seem real interested in Rampart.
No, I'm really not, honestly. I feel like he's super generic. I hate to say.
No, yeah, you're right. I mean, he is. But he obviously seems to be someone who is going to be important, at least for this series.
And I feel like at some point he's going to go up against Crosshair. Like he's going to learn that I don't want to jump too far ahead, but like learn of the mission they had and what he did. And
maybe.
I just feel like he's going to, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if Crosshair ends up killing him by the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a possibility. And part of Rampart's sort of plan here is he has four whole troopers.
Yeah, that's all you could find.
Yeah, his elite conscripted force who is going to be under Crosshair. And they are sent to eliminate Saw Gerrera and the rebels under Saul. Which, did you find it odd that they were still on the same planet? Like, why would they still be there?
They said they were leaving. Why would anyone stay?
Yeah,
especially the civilians.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me. It's like you know that the Empire knows you're here. Why would you stay?
Yeah.
Onderon. I just don't understand that at all. And I guess
it wasn't even that they stayed. It was like they dug in because they had sensors all over the place.
Yeah.
Like they were ready to stay there.
Yeah, and let's stay with that sort of storyline just for a minute because it does get a little dark. Actually, way dark there. Bit darker. I don't know. I mean, we've seen some pretty dark stuff out of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But it seemed more brutal.
It did.
Crosshair and the troops attack these folks, some of which were just regular civilians looking to effectively get passage off planet. And then Crosshair doesn't really interrogate one of these rebels, but he does ask him where Saw Gerrera is. I don't know. He shoots and kills him. And then he orders the other troopers to fire on these civilians, one of the troopers says, "No, we don't fire on civilians. This is enough of this." Effectively trying to do the right thing, and Crosshair kills him and orders the remaining troopers to kill the civilians, which they do. And one of them has a flamethrower.
Which this is probably the highest body count from a flamethrower in Star Wars history, by the way.
Well, if you're counting Mandalorian,
I know, a little morbid to talk about, but...
Yeah. So, I don't know.
It brings up a question, though, because, we were talking about earlier, like, making the Empire out to be super evil and all that, but if you actually think about the Empire from the original trilogy, and you actually got into the lore of it, they weren't as brutal as the clones. Because Crosshair is literally willing to do anything that he is told to do, including killing civilians, and you even have proof of, early stage stormtroopers saying, "No, this isn't right. I'm not going to be this evil." So it's a bit of a moral issue. Like, is it, regardless of Palpatine, I think that the Republic would have still probably had some kind of control chip put in these clones. And it brings up a real issue of just how evil the clone army could have been had they been kept around by the Empire. How much worse they'd be than the stormtroopers.
Well, sure, had you continued with the control chips. Because obviously we saw that the clones, when not being controlled by the chips, were as rational as anyone else.
Right.
But yeah, they followed orders, absolutely. They didn't have any control over that. And I think one of the interesting things that we kind of dive into here and there, and we got into with Alphabet Squadron, with Palpatine's lists and everything, I still think that that's kind of a lame talk-off point. But I get it. It's just not like some big, huge... It's not as big a thing as I would have thought. But the Empire did still have good people in it, and it had brutal people in it. It was definitely a mixed bag, but the problem is that you literally had one of the most brutal, careless, evil people ever heading it.
Right.
So that does direct a lot of it, the below parts of the system. But
right.
Yeah, it is interesting to think about. The clones would have absolutely followed the orders of whatever Palpatine or Governor Tarkin or whoever you choose, and wouldn't have questioned it. And that's pretty crazy. But
yeah,
like with what Rampart's trying to say, he wants the people to honestly believe in the Empire, whereas they're not ordered; they actually want them to believe. And to that point, zealousy, like being a zealot, can be more dangerous than following orders. Absolutely. Because you'll do more. You'll be more brutal. You'll be more of a murderer. And we did see that from time to time as well.
And also the brutality can continue whether or not you have that order.
Yeah. But
because
I will
the clones would revert to their normal selves if they didn't have an order, to an extent.
Yeah, sure. But I will say, just murdering civilians wasn't. It definitely happened. But even we had talked a little bit about Rebels when the Empire was trying to get land. They were actually offering to pay people for their land. Now, when they refused,
Not
several
great amount probably, but
true. But they were at least going to give them something, and they were a little patient. They asked them several times, and then they were going to kill them. So there was at least some alternative there. It wasn't just straight, hey, you're not us, pew, 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 pew,
right. And there's even instances where they destroy property. Usually someone will be like, you'll be well compensated. Like Tarkin, when he's basically saying, hey, I want you to try and kill your clones. Well,
sure,
that would cost me money. We'll pay for it. Just do it.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is it does come down to economics of the galaxy as well. Palpatine ultimately wants a Death Star, and these clones are very expensive, and having, volunteers is cheaper than having all these clones basically legitimately made, bred, born. So, with that in mind, I think that there's goods and bads of both, but
it brings up a lot of just what ifs, what could have happened, like if you had, maybe taken that Django line as far as you could before it started to break down and then added a little bit of, Sith DNA to it and make them a little more violent and
right.
hyper-reflexive.
Right. Now, that actually brings up a point. We're kind of bypassing the clones story here, but we'll get back to it. Let's talk a little bit about these Kaminoans, because they basically said something that I had talked about with this replicant of fading, which is a sci-fi trope, where now they're getting to the point where the Jango Fett DNA is basically...
It's degrading.
Yeah, it's degrading, and it won't be useful. And
obviously you can't find any more.
Right, but
unless you got it from Boba.
I suppose. I don't know how well that would work, because Boba is a clone, effectively a natural clone. But my only thought is this: is that they talk about we only need one, and it's assumed that they are looking for someone within the Bad Batch, and it doesn't necessarily seem to indicate Omega. It just means that they need. I think that they just need somebody with the genetic abnormality that could potentially give rise to like a new line of clones.
But the question is, who would be your best choice out of all of them?
Well,
I would almost lean towards Crosshair, truthfully, as far as they're concerned.
Well, I mean, from the Empire's concerns, but I mean, if we're talking about the most stable, it's probably Hunter. I mean,
true.
He would be the more stable of them all. Crosshair, it just all depends on what you want to do with them, I guess. Do you want them to just be completely following of orders and, potentially brutal, or are you looking more
stable person?
Well, somebody who's stable that you can program better, or I don't know. I just feel like it'd be a more stable clone.
I would just think the Kaminoans would want to appease the Empire as much as possible. It seems like Crosshair would be the best choice. That's the only reason I really think.
No, and yeah, I'm with you there. But I gotta say, I think that they're eventually going to make their stand at some point, and I think we're probably going to see them get wiped out.
Yeah, which is actually something that's already been in canon. I mean, even the old Battlefront games had missions where you went after the clones on Kamino as a stormtrooper because they're holed up trying to start a rebellion, basically. So I feel like we'll see something similar to that eventually, and we'll see the systematic execution of the clones.
Yeah.
That don't escape.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. The retirement of said clones.
Yeah, the retirement that no one wants to talk about.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a show to do that. You do have the perspective of a clone, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll kind of see how that all works out. But then I guess getting back to our clone story, we have this kind of, I don't know, how would you describe this creature?
Almost like the creature in Attack of the Clones that scratches Padme, but smaller and slightly modified in a way, but it's not a super fancy new creature that we came up for just the clone or the Bad Batch.
It seems like maybe it's
generic.
A little bit more reptilian, perhaps, than the cat thing that you were speaking of. But yeah, it sort of seems to have some bioluminescent sort of stripe weird quality. I don't know. Its
intelligence level is kind of disappointingly low, though. It's a pretty stupid creature.
Yeah, I guess, but I think I don't think that it's necessarily violent. It's just more searching for food than anything else, and it seems to feed on energy. and then
which
glows.
Like, kind of going into the almost end of the episode, why it would pick a flashlight over a literal source of energy makes no sense to me whatsoever. Like, it just kind of shows how stupid it is.
Well, I mean, the flashlight has energy to it, so. But yeah, it's obviously not the smartest thing in the world. I don't know. Anyway, Omega tricks it, gives it the flashlight, and she's able to creep away with the part. And there she did it. She did it. Oh, by the way, Hunter was incapacitated and he was knocked out, so that's why Omega had to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she got a prize.
She'd have to do it anyway, let's be honest.
True, but then she got a prize.
Hunter wasn't fitting in there. Yeah.
She got a reward for her good deeds, and her reward...
As if she didn't deserve it to begin with.
Yeah. Her reward was a room and the bunny.
Yeah. The little bunny thing.
So she can TikTok all night with her sheet closed. What are you doing? What are you doing in there? I'm learning a new dance. Leave me alone.
It'd be funny if at some point we run into the creature that the bunny is based off of.
God.
And like she's able to communicate with it or something.
No, we don't need that at all.
Oh no, we got that anime stuff with Vader 11, so why not?
No, man, no. So, yeah, I guess to sort of wrap up here, the Kaminoans seem to have a plan going forward here. Rampart has a plan. The clones are off doing clone things. They still don't seem to have a plan though. They're just riding around in their semi broken down ship, making rooms out of thin air.
Just trying to avoid crosshair. It's fine.
And the clones are just in the mess hall, just chilling out. The only other thing that I would mention here is that when Crosshair's little troop here gets back to the room, which was prior, his and the Bad Batch's quarters, he sort of sits down and looks around almost like he's, I don't know, does he miss them? Is he having like a little chippy chip malfunction? Is there something going on there? Is he finally thinking? It's kind of hard to tell. It was very brief.
Well, it does make you question, like, near the beginning of the episode, we do see him going in the machine and, getting his chip recharged, essentially. And he's already at a point where it seems like he's regretting his decision. And we've only been on one mission. So it just kind of shows how much effort they have to put into controlling him day after day.
Yeah, and we'll see how that goes. I have a feeling that the Bad Batch will be reunited somehow. Yeah. We'll just sort of have to see if it's a good or bad reunion.
Do you feel like they're going to have him say his little catchphrase, but like alter it when he finally turns sides again? Or it's like, good soldiers don't always follow orders.
I mean, yeah.
And he just shoots Rampart or something.
Yeah, that would obviously be pretty consistent.
Pretty cheese.
Yeah, it'd be cheesy enough. Well, anyway, any more we want to talk about this particular episode?
No, not really, honestly.
What about a rating? Let's give it a rating real quick.
Oh, God. What did we rate the last two? We really need to start looking into this.
I don't know. I think that they were in the 8s.
Yeah, I would give this like I'm gonna do like a 6.8. Just because it's not that I hated the episode. I mean, anything above like a 6.5 I'm okay with. But it's just that filler episode for me. We got a little bit of cool stuff with Crosshair and just a brief moment with Omega that's kind of heartwarming, but other than that, it's a filler episode. It's just okay.
To be honest with you, man, I know all the disrespect in the world, but
sure.
I think you're maybe looking at this through the lens of The Mandalorian. Like, we got a lot of episodes. Like, I don't think that every Clone Wars episode was a banger in that season, and I think that this was an appropriate episode for the
Well,
length of the season.
we had filler in Mandalorian too, for that matter. It's not so much that,
but there was less of it. I mean, there was such a small scope of episodes that
right.
even
I guess for me, I don't expect to have any 9s out of this series just from what I've seen so far. So I'm trying to keep these ratings a little lower for when the good episodes come out, so we don't have this inconsistency. It's like, oh, an episode he didn't like had like an 8, and an episode he loved had an 8. What's going on here?
Yeah, sure.
Like,
no, that makes sense. I get you. I'm probably going to be a little bit more complimentary. I think it was a reasonable 7.5.
Okay.
Not bad, not great. It's tropey episode. Shit breaks down. You got to have the kid prove themselves, and you introduce a new character, and then you have some brutality. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think, I think it's an interesting continuation. Let me put it to you that way. So, not crazy, but it'll be fine. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Let us, because we are tipping some time here. Obviously, we've been doing a lot longer episodes because we talked so long in the beginning. But let's go ahead and rock into our comics here. And again, we're going to look at issue 3 of High Republic and issue 11 of Darth Vader. Let's just start on High Republic, I think, first.
All righty.
I think we can run through this pretty quick. Vader might require a little bit more talking. So when we left off, we had Avar Chris join our Jedi as our little twin Jedi sort of goes nuts. Tarek and Sarit, the twins, obviously Skier and Kiva, or Keeve. Are we just calling her Keeve? Just Keeve, right?
I believe so, Keeve.
Like when we say Skier, we call her Keeve.
Sure.
We
Why
extend
not? That's
E.
what he does.
Okay. So this is kind of I will say this. High Republic's getting a little dark here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is there's just a lot of darkness right now, and I think we're going to have to bring some light into our next episode, hopefully. But we have Avar coming in here trying to regain some control. We have Skier continuing to go nuts, and we have I'm instantaneously forgetting names. Sarit here, who is literally foaming at the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have some of the village kids here trying to give them food, trying to be welcoming. Hey, one of our kids is lost. And then we have this speaker, Cal Solman, who is
a jerk.
Oh yeah, he's a complete jerk. He's basically like every distrustful village, every distrustful townsperson in about any 90s movie when we don't like your kind around here. But later on, they wind up having a heart of gold and giving you a shotgun so you can go kill the bad guy or something like that. Some crap like that. We don't know if that's how it's going to wind up with this guy, but he's a jerk. I mean, he's a jerk to all of them. It's like, we don't want you here. We don't need you here. You shouldn't be here type of person. And he first interacts with Keeve and then goes on to interact a little bit with Avar. But as Keeve sort of is going through this planet, she feels a darkness, and we run into a little boy by the name of, what was his name?
Oh, I'm on that page. Hold on.
Oh, I hate names. Why do people have to have
names? Where is he? Names are annoying.
Bartol.
Old Bartle.
Yeah.
Bartle.
So his friend, Julius, he's concerned about his friend here, but very childlike kid. They're going through the fields of barley, and they encounter a sinkhole, which Bartol just jumps down in like, I'm sorry, there's something wrong with this kid.
Yeah, extremely wrong with him.
Like, he might be suicidal. He might be like some sort of hallucination or something. There's something wrong with this kid.
Or he's He's force-sensitive adventurer.
Well, he jumps down this hole, and like Keeve basically has to stop him from falling to his death. He's like, "Oh, that's amazing! I knew you could do it. You're so cool." And then like she lets him hold his lightsaber at one point. It's like, please stop trusting this child. Like clearly there's something wrong with this child.
He's gonna cut his hand off.
Goodness, very very oddball stuff going on with that. There's a little bit with Avar and was it Maru? They brought that hut to be decomposed from the prior episode, Dead Hut, and apparently the council doesn't like that for some reason. Like, what the hell does the council have to worry about the marshal of freaking Starlight Beacon? Like,
right?
I think you need to leave the marshal alone.
Yeah,
because when the eyes of a ranger are upon you. That's a ranger, not a marshal. Whatever, he's Texas Ranger. It's fine. Anyway, to make a bit of a long story short here, Keeve does find our other twin and the unfortunate boy Julius, who is with the Force.
Yeah.
Dark, dude. Why are you killing kids? It's like this little kid's little friend, and like he's dead.
Yeah. I didn't like it, honestly. Like, I didn't like any of it. I mean, I get it at some point. You gotta start having some major deaths in this series, but, like, let's not do that with kids. We're already getting that with Bad Batch. Let's be a little more light here. Come on, guys.
Well, apparently giving him a lightsaber is, like, what fixes him. He kind of looks like... that last little animation, he looks like the... God, I can't remember. He kind of almost looks like Calvin and Hobbes, the kid from Calvin and Hobbes. But I'm also thinking about maybe it was like the Fallout like mascot. Was it Fallout that had a little blonde mascot guy?
Yeah.
That's
I don't know. Like, other than the hair color, I'm just picturing Dennis the Menace with him holding that lightsaber.
Yeah, it's like don't lose an arm. Okay.
I did think it was funny why she basically does this. Like, I'm giving you a hug because you lost your friend, so I'm having to hold my lightsaber with the Force, and I'm getting tired, so hold my lightsaber.
Yeah. Well, then these vines are, that are holding the twin and unfortunately the dead kid, attempt to get a new kid, and we realize that this is Drengir, which we had encountered in... What did I say was the book?
Into the Dark.
Into the Dark. We were debating that before the episode because I was like, was this I thought it was the first book, Light of the Jedi. I was like, no, that can't be. It was Into the Dark, but interesting stuff.
And we do have these moments where Keeve's like having some issues, like the dark side presence is really strong in this cave, and she's having migraines from it. And so the question is like, okay, so are the Drengir just this almost like a Sith beast species where they're just pure entities of darkness? Is it like the opposite of the Yuuzhan Vong? Like what are they?
Well, yeah, and I think the one thing that I kind of think about when we start talking about darkness is that the Sith aren't the only form of darkness, right? I mean, there would have to be more ancient forms of potential darkness than just the Sith. Right. So from my standpoint, I think that they're definitely dark, but I also think that they're apart from the Sith, just a completely different thing. But at any rate. And
another question it brings up, like the Drengir that we dealt with in Into the Dark were more like this warrior race of humanoids. Yeah. And in the comic, we're seeing these giant beasts. It's like, is this the hive mind? And every Drengir we ran into is just something this particular beast is controlling? Or, I mean, is the Drengir more of a concept than an actual race? And they have giant monsters and humanoids and this and that? What's going on here? It left more questions.
Yeah, these Drengir seem to be centrally focused around feeding, whereas the other Drengir, as you said, they kind of have
conquering.
They have a wider plan. So maybe these Drengir have been here. Maybe they were recently awakened. I don't know. But they certainly have control over the twins, and because the twins are basically kind of like one connected person, we see our one twin with a skewer spitting some black stuff on him, which is effectively the spore that
Right.
turned our Jedi into the dark. So now they have control of Skier as well. And we have kind of Keeve, who's essentially she's in trouble. I mean, let's.
Oh yeah.
Keeve and the kid are.
She's kind of holding her own for a little bit, but not long. Not long at all.
But then we have old Avar just dropping in from the ceiling, from the top rope elbow drop.
And can we just talk about that? Like that's just an epic panel, right?
It's a fantastic panel.
I love it. It's my favorite panel in the entire series so far.
Let me tell you something, Drengear. I'm gonna go up to the top rope and I'm gonna get the elbow drop going.
Yeah, it was great, and the artwork is really really nice in here.
It's almost kind of funny. Like you have that big panel, and it's just hyper focused. Super detailed Avar, and then you have the next panel where she's just completely calm and normal. It's like, this is kind of jarring.
Avar is, and I kind of said this when we got the initial, artwork concepts for our people here, and I thought that they seemed pretty generic. Avar is not necessarily, she doesn't necessarily have like super crazy strong features.
Yeah.
She's, she's fine. I'm not like dogging her or anything, but it's like there's even in this more focused panel, there's not much in the way of like crazy details. She looks pretty much like every other.
She's
aside from her
human,
little circlet that she wears, kind of little elf thing going on there. But
I wonder if she's got the same circlet going on as Omega.
Oh God, just stop. We found this old piece of DNA that we crossed with Django
She's
DNA.
Avar. Oh my God, Omega is Avar.
All right. Well, let's keep going. The Dren gear that she cut in half is not truly cut in half, and we of course know that.
Just two.
Yeah, we know how they work.
Was it two before, or did we just multiply them?
Yeah, the awesome. I don't know. The mitochondria in the cell and the chloroform.
M count. Just M count. M count.
The cells divide into two, and then they clone each other. And
instantaneous cloning.
Yes. Well, we find out that Skier has also been taken over, and he has a new Groot hand.
Yeah, and he's kind of terrifying in this. I'm not gonna lie. It's a pretty cool panel.
Oh yeah, no doubt. There's several pretty epic panels, but yes, Skier has a new arm, and he is under the control of the Dren gear, and this is something we've seen. Are you excited to see the Dren gear again? Don't answer that
in a way
at once.
Honestly, in a way I am, because the potential just between Into the Dark and this comic, there's a lot of potential. I mean, they're building them up to be way bigger bad guys than the Nihil. Like, I don't care about the Nihil anymore. I'm more interested in these creatures, to be honest.
Well, they present a much larger threat when you think about it.
I mean, the Nihil, if you actually focus your efforts, you could wipe out the Nihil fairly easily. I mean, they're not that big of a deal. These creatures...
No, you can't. We would just make new paths.
Okay.
If you haven't read or listened to the audiobook and listen to old Marcion Rowe, that's angst for you, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, Marcion Rowe. It's like if you combine Anakin and Ben and like an emo band member from the 90s, that's Marcion Rowe.
Yeah, the lead singer from My Chemical Romance and like or maybe the lead singer from Him maybe might be more appropriate.
Yeah.
And then random anime character, just pick one. It doesn't matter which one.
They're all the same.
That's hilarious.
No, random anime villain that becomes an ally down the line just because he doesn't want to lose.
Yeah, sure.
That's what Marcion's going to be.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested in what the Drengir could bring about because they are such a strong enemy potentially.
Yeah.
Although
And
I don't think
also,
they have
just-
ships, which is a little.
But if they can control you from far away, do they need ships?
I think so. There's got to be some sort of range to that. But I'll say
Plus,
this.
if they control people, they'll just steal the enemy ship.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how big they're going to build these folks out to be. I feel like there might be some alliance between the Drengir and the Nihil at some point.
I just don't feel like the Drengir would need the Nihil unless it's for the paths.
Well,
Would be like the only reason.
True, but like, how many Drengir are there? Really?
Yeah, very true.
They come out on
I
a
feel
planet.
like they would
you
benefit
nuke-
more from controlling the Nihil than partnering with them.
Yeah. Well, true. My only thing is like, okay, so they come through. They're on a planet. You nuke the planet. I don't know,
Yeah.
or just keep them on the planet. Don't even nuke
Right.
the planet. They're just like, yeah, sure, you can have F1223. I don't care about that planet. Screw it. We
Right.
put it off limits. Put a shield
And,
around
like-
it so they can't get out. I don't know.
Right. And like, is these weird creatures we're dealing with in this comic, are they the start of the Drengir? Are they the hive mind? Do they control it?
Yeah.
Are they the queen? Or is it just a mini boss? What is it? Where's the base for these creatures,
Yeah, 100%. I don't know, man, but we'll definitely.
I do want to say one thing. Kiev is slowly becoming one of my favorite characters from High Republic.
Oh, I think she's sick. I mean, I like I like her, and then I like the other younger Jedi. She
From
was
the
like
kids' novel.
yeah, she was like
It's
what
also a knight.
15, 16?
14. She's
okay.
14.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
youngest knight in hundreds of
Yeah,
years.
the green girl.
Yeah, Miri Allen.
Can't think of the species.
Was she Mary Allen?
Mary Allen. I think so. That sounds right.
I do feel like we do use a lot of Mary Allens, but she might not be. Anyway, yeah, no, I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Sorry, but she's
Padawans
pretty cool.
are pretty sweet in this series.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we are building some good characters. I just don't know about the overall story. It seems really slow. I mean, the first book
Right.
was just about a crash in space.
Yeah.
I mean,
When you're talking about a complete era of Star Wars that you're building up, it's hard to start with that
Yeah.
and actually get people excited.
yeah. But Kiev, yeah, I think she could be really cool. She does use a
Yeah.
double bladed green lightsaber, so that's automatic points. But even if we move beyond Skier, I think she's one that could be pretty cool down the line. Hopefully
Yeah.
we get. I mean, I assume I'm hoping we get. I think we do get more of her in a book. Isn't she in a book? I think they had a listing of some of the book covers in this comic, and
Maybe coming up. I know she hasn't been in any of the books that we've read so far. If she is, it's like in passing in like the opening of Starlight Beacon or something.
that doesn't look. Oh, okay. So it was just a comic cover that I saw. So no, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see her expanded on a little bit. Comics are great and all, but like books are really where the stories happen.
Yeah, I mean, look at Avar in the comics opposed to the book. She's way cooler in the
Dude,
book.
Avar was
She's
sick.
amazing.
She was so sick in the book, and
I mean, she was awesome enough to not even. I mean, yes, we both had issues with the Grandmaster being killed. Yes, we did.
Well, yeah,
And she had a lot of potential, but it's almost like this is the character set up to be the replacement. So it's okay.
yeah, but they also seem to make her really organic though. So it's not. There's no try-hardiness to the character. It's just a really good character.
Right. She's just a character that you don't see how she's done it, but she's worked hard her entire life. She's become amazing. She's not a Mary Sue. She's awesome. She's got a backstory you'll learn a little bit about, but she's just, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, I was trying to real quick look up the names of her compatriots. So Elzar Mann and
Yep.
who is the other one that we're going to be getting in the next book? Stellan Gios. So the three of these friends, I think, are going to be very interesting.
I think they're going to be the core in a way. as well.
Well, we don't know much about Stellan. We know that he is very powerful, as he was able to add his energy to the spirit bomb over a vast amount of space. So he
Yeah.
obviously has I don't want to talk power scaling, but he's obviously up there. But like
Right, of course.
Elzar's kind
course.
of. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just say, of course, Avar is able to boost that ability. I'm sure, you know, Jedi from other eras wouldn't be able to do that necessarily without Avar's abilities. But yeah,
Well,
he was ridiculous in the books.
Right, and I mean, even just Chris's ability to coordinate hundreds of Jedi in a battle with
She's
her
just
mind.
a more BA version of Anakin.
I mean, well,
Solo.
far surpassing, Anakin
yeah.
from the New Jedi Order, far surpassing that ability. But then like Elzar is this sort of like experimenting guy. You know, he tries to figure things out.
He's a scientist, essentially.
Yes, yeah. I mean, listen, he created a freaking storm.
Yeah.
With
Out
the
of
Force.
molecules of moisture in the air. What the heck?
He's the kind of guy though that in like a really crazy sci-fi novel would have found out how to like literally touch the living force or something. You know, he would have. What are you doing, Elzar? I'm about to enter a new dimension where I will touch the force.
I found the cellular structure of the creatures who hang out in the midichlorians. I am now God.
I've learned how to manipulate these midichlorians to do whatever I want. Oh,
Hey, you
look, a
could
puppy.
Hey, you could create like a chosen one that will bring. No, that's stupid.
Only puppies.
Bigger scale.
Puppies for everyone in the galaxy. Oh
There will be no darkness with all the puppies. Darkness cannot grow where there are puppies.
No, but he'd be like the guy to build a Stargate that like allows you to go to Force Land or something. It's like, what's that stone circle? Well, if you press in these 7 different panels, you will get an address to the Force. What? It's another fandom. Don't worry about it. I don't know. I have a lot of love for these guys, and I'm really interested in seeing what they do with Stellan Geos. But Avar Chris is pretty OP, and you know, again, I just want a tighter story for the High Republic. That's all I want.
It's weird. It's weird because you have this jumbled mess of a story, but you have these super hyper-focused characters. It's really hard to see where they're going with it, but what I do appreciate in the High Republic that no one really wants to talk about. I know everyone's crapping on the High Republic. It's garbage. Everyone hates it.
People just aren't
That's
talking
fine.
about it.
The people that are just absolutely hate its existence. But
Yeah.
what I like about High Republic, as far as with the Jedi, not necessarily everything else, it brings the aspects of the Force into a level of sci-fi nerddom that Star Wars never really hit before, because you actually get into the intellectual part of it and actually breaking down how they're doing things.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest thing for like Star Trek fans who hate Star Wars is it's just too simple. You know, they don't explain anything. I can't really get much out of it, and I feel like they're trying to do that with High Republic a little bit.
Yeah. What factor warp speed do you go on your ships? Are we faster? Do you even know what antimatter is?
We're just going through hyperspace. And
Like,
everything works.
But like how though? Do you
I don't know. The
have a warp
computer
engine?
the computer just analyzes and finds a spot for me to go, and everything works. Don't break the fandom.
So like do you not have like, photon torpedoes yet, or like phasers? Because we've got those. It feels like we could destroy all of your ships relatively easy. Like the Enterprise just shows up and takes out the entire Exegol fleet.
Right.
Do those ships even have shields?
I feel like they wouldn't be able to. They have a Death Star cannon on them. Where else is that energy going to go? You're putting everything into that. You'd have like 5% into shields, 5% into thrusters, and 90% into Death Star cannon
Yeah.
at all times. But like, I feel like a Star Trek fan who hates Star Wars, who read Light of the Jedi, would be like, I'm surprised this didn't happen more.
Yeah.
Like, your concept of hyperspace is really stupid.
Well, yeah,
But-
yeah, for sure. I mean, anyway, but High Republic, I still have some high hopes for. But let's go
Yeah.
ahead and roll into Vader here.
Which we are starting to have low hopes for.
Yeah, unfortunately. So this is issue 11.
And I got the sick, thanks to you, I'm not even bragging at you, just everyone else, I got the sick cover where we got Vader
Yeah, so
hitting that one, that
lately,
punchline, man.
yeah, lately there have been a ton of really good alternate covers.
For the 40th for Empire, of course.
Right. Well, just in general though, because like for the newer line, the War of the Bounty Hunters deal.
Oh,
So
they're pretty epic.
well, the covers are great, but they also have like regular color, and then they have like bronzed covers as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. But yeah, they definitely have a lot of really cool covers going on lately, which is pretty epic. Although I have to say the actual A cover for this particular comic doesn't make a lot of sense because for me, I have
Well,
Vader.
it disappoints you.
Well, I have Vader standing sort of to the side, and there are a bunch of guys with red lightsabers like facing him. And of course, that doesn't actually come to fruition here in this particular comic, but let's go through it. So Vader survives every single one of the Emperor's tests. The assassin Ochi and his droid Crush. His droid's name was Crush? Do you remember that?
No.
I don't remember
No, I
that
don't.
at all. Anyway, the Ambarian's fleet of Star Destroyers, even the mighty tentacled horror from the Red Space. The mighty tentacled horror from Red Space is no match for the Dark Lord. I can't read. Now Vader bends the monster from the Red Space to his will through the dark side of the Force and begins his assault on Palpatine's secret world of Exegol.
Should have stayed a secret.
So our assassin's still here, by the way.
How does he not die?
I don't know.
How does he not die from either Palpatine or Vader in this freaking comic?
Well, he's unfortunately became kind of like the annoying exposition droid in this particular comic, and
the exposition droid always dies around Vader.
yeah, I kind of want him to leave. I want him gone, to be honest. But anyway, Palpatine, he's facing off against Palpatine. Palpatine's like, I've totally prepared for this. Here, meet my lobster men. Oh, the squid takes care of the lobster men.
Cthulhu. It's Cthulhu.
Well, whatever. He's a squid, lobster, kraken. Who cares?
Literally squeezes them in half with his tentacles. It's amazing.
Yeah. I do think this one line is funny. So Vader does say, "I'm no longer your apprentice," and Palpatine's reply is, "Pfft." I mean, literally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you see Palpatine making that
No,
sound?
I could not.
It would be pretty terrible.
Yeah, it's whatever. And anyway, Palpatine basically destroys the squid monster. He makes it hug himself to death or something like that. And then he takes Vader on a walk through his spooky Snoke laboratory. And we see this hand, which presumably, and a lot of people have speculated about this as Luke's hand, and we'll get to that. I don't want to. Let's get through the comic, and then we'll pick it apart. And again, Vader is attacked by more of Palpatine's guards, and you have exposition assassin. Whoa! I thought there were only 2 Sith. Those are not Sith, but they could be.
But one could be if you fall.
Yeah, kind of.
No, they wouldn't be.
Yeah, it's whatever. So he takes out those guys, and then we have some ing, other people with knives.
Is that the noise they made in the movie?
Well, that's what they made here. Gwah. And then they say wah as they're stabbed by their own knives that Vader stabs him with.
Fuck.
Yes,
Fuck.
thaw. Thought not a naughty word, because the first time you said that definitely sounded like a naughty word. THOK, it's a sound effect.
But is that the sound of someone being impaled by their own dagger? Is that what that sounds like?
Dude, I don't know, man. I'm sure that there were some Wilhelm screams going on in there and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever. So he kills all them. Again, exposition assassin is still going on here. My lord, can you hear me? Vader lives. What? What? I don't dialogue. We see the fleet on its chessboard looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
They all have cannons, and then there's a giant kyber crystal that blinds the assassin. And then there's like some little non-Jawa guys with like sword guns. I have so much. I have like no energy for this book. I have no energy
either.
for this comic, dude. Listen, they're like little Jawa guys with sword guns that like poke the Kyber crystal in order to piss it off, I guess. So
and
that
then
it'll
Palpatine's just there in the middle of it for some reason.
Yeah, sure. And
then we get a vision. And then we get a vision that makes... I don't want to say it makes no sense, but it makes no sense in the context of this comic.
yeah,
Like put this vision in a context of Vader having a crisis of faith, like, I've made the wrong decision. What am I doing with my life? And then you have this little reverse of roles where Luke's trying to save him, but it's him trying to get him to join him, and this is why he betrays the Emperor in the end, and that it ties into the movies. No, they just put it in this as a Kyber crystal vision.
Unlimited power beyond anything you've ever experienced.
It's stupid.
yeah. And then he has this little vision where he's effectively in reverse position with Luke. From 5, and search your feelings. You can destroy the Emperor. He has foreseen this. It is your destiny. Which is kind of, it is kind of Luke's message, though, that you can destroy the Emperor, and
Sure.
he has foreseen it. And then we have Palps, have you chosen? Basically, have you made your decision? And then we see him walking off with Vader, or with Palpatine behind Palpatine. Yes, my master. And we have blind assassin.
Yeah.
So let's run through a couple of themes here. Let's talk about the hand. There was a lot of speculation very early on that Snoke could have been a Skywalker clone,
and I hate that.
Yeah, well, it appears to be at least somewhat true if that hand is indeed Luke's. Maybe old Papa Palps sourced out Anakin's hand that he first got chopped off. Who knows?
Honestly, I was kind of thinking about that earlier. So what if the point of this little vision where now Darth Vader's the one with his hand cut off and he's talking to Luke, what if that's like foreshadowing and the hand isn't Luke's, but it's Anakin's from when it was cut off on Mustafar, and Palpatine recovers that, and he's trying to clone Anakin so he would be at his top fighting shape again instead of this husk of a man.
Yeah,
I think that would be cooler than it being Luke, because how does Luke make Snoke?
it makes more sense. I think to me maybe, but I don't know, dude. I don't know about the hand thing. There's so much about this comic that I feel like it cheapens, the series, which
It makes Vader look like a wimp.
Well, it makes Anakin's entire arc feel really shallow. I
Yeah.
don't particularly like the fact that Vader knows about Exegol. And it makes Palpatine look OP to the point that the only way that Vader would have killed Palpatine is by Palpatine allowing
allowed it.
himself to be killed because he knew that he could come back again. And maybe create like a false sense of hope
issues
for Luke.
because which brings issues into the entire canon because it essentially makes the prophecy null and void.
Yeah, I
And
just
it cheapens the entire original trilogy for me because like all of their efforts was for nothing.
yeah.
Because he just comes back, and it was all planned from the beginning. The entire prequels kind of cheapen that in a way, but this is making it worse.
Well, I don't know. For me, I think you get to see a lot about Anakin in the prequels, and obviously that whole thing was geared around his downfall.
I'm sorry. Did I say prequels? I meant to
You
say
meant the
sequels.
sequels. Okay, that
Yes,
makes sense.
the sequels kind of cheapen the prophecy and the entire journey of the first 6 movies. Because like everything Anakin did was for nothing.
Sure. Yeah.
And this just makes it. This takes that and expounds on it by making him seem extremely weak in the process.
Yeah. It makes Vader seem just irrelevant, and I don't like that. I don't like that Anakin is being made irrelevant. I want Anakin to be the guy who took down who took down Palpatine. And I'll be honest with you, like I was excited when I heard who's the actor who plays Palpatine. I'm so weak with names right now.
My. Google. Help me.
Yeah, it's Ian McDermott. I had Ian on the tip of my tongue, but it's Ian McDermott. When I saw him walk out on the stage for Celebration, and it was like, oh, this is sick. This is so great that, okay, yeah. But, the more when I settled down and I was like, no, it's actually not. It's actually not okay that he's back again because it
It
destroys
6 movies.
it just fully cheapens Vader, and here's the thing: the idea of Palpatine clone is not unique. It's been in the books. His essence has been there, and I haven't necessarily liked that either. I advocated for Kylo Ren to just be the bad guy. If you're gonna make him kill Snoke and be the bad guy, just let him be the bad guy. And then he's just engulfed by his own anger, and he dies. And at the end of it, it's it.
There has to be a point where we let Palpatine go. I mean, I'm sorry, Palpatine's an amazing villain, but if you keep bringing him back, it kind of ruins it in a way. I mean, there are other villains in the Star Wars universe. Yes, they're not all canon anymore, that you could bring in that would be just as terrifying or more terrifying. I mean, you could have made a trilogy out of Abeloth.
Well, that's a little too deep for most people.
That's diving into a realm of Star Wars that most people don't get into, but it just feels lazy in a way. And it just feels like they don't care about the first 6 movies anymore. Like they just are irrelevant.
I don't know.
I mean, you have your mainline Star Wars, which is trying to make up for that, but like this is kind of ruining that in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It sort of all depends. I mean, I don't hate Palpatine coming back. I don't think it was necessary to bring him back again. I think that there's merit just from an EU standpoint, but I think when you're doing things like this and having this constant beat down of Vader, it sort of eliminates it eliminates the sacrifice that he made and his journey for that proverbial balance. So I don't know. I wish they would have gone a different way, and I think that it would have been easy enough to do, but again, I don't write these movies, so I guess at the
Right.
end of the day, it's out of my hands. So I'm not.
Yeah,
I don't
we just
want
got to take our checks and shut up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to keep complaining about it because, like, I think we can find fault in about anything that happens here and there. But this comic, however, just strictly based on, I didn't like this comic. I was very disappointed in the direction they're going here, and it's starting to feel like, it's just starting to feel like we're just trying to tie in too much, and you didn't have an original story. Legitimately, this is the third Vader line comic in the past 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason that we have to continue to. And the beginning of this was awesome. The Padme stuff was great. The figuring out Luke was interesting. It's just when we have to throw in this Exegol crap. I do not care about Exegol at this point in time.
I don't either.
So
it was dealt with in the movie. We're done with Exegol. We should be done.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It wasn't my favorite. I'm not overly looking forward to the rest of this line, but maybe it'll be more interesting. I don't know. And I don't even know how many more of these we have in this particular line. Let me look that up.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think it was like a ton either. But I wonder how much far. Okay, we have 17 issues.
That's it. Wow. Yeah, we're about done.
Well, it looks like
Only
this
got
next part. They're really it's segmented out as the War of the Bounty Hunters. So I feel like this story is going to very much cut off and almost restart.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're going to get like a full stop restart out of this series, which is
odd.
Yeah.
So what would you rate it?
We didn't even rate the other one. How do we rate comics? Do we do it out of 5? True. We do it book
5,
ratings,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, I would agree. It's just
no, wait.
bleh.
We do it out of 5. That would have been out of 10. 2.
Oh wow, that's harsh.
I don't like it. It's out of 5.
I was thinking of I would say like 3.
Yeah, I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
I want to be fair, but I wasn't interested in the Exegol, and I don't know. I just thought it was kind of lame.
Yeah. Maybe it'll change directions, but it's going to be hard to fix what's already been messed up. So
yep,
we'll have to see where they go from here.
Yep.
Time for a new arc. I know that much.
Well, and that looks like what we're going to get. I mean, we have some backtracking to do, obviously, folks, but we will be working in comics as we go along. Now, next week, we're still Bad Batch, but we're also going to go over the new Thrawn book. We're about, I guess, 2 weeks behind on that technically, just in scope of time, but no biggie. I don't really care about getting it out crazy fast, but I assume that'll probably be a longer conversation, I would imagine. So we'll try and keep the chit-chat to a minimum in the beginning, and who knows, maybe Bad Batch will provide a little bit more meat for us to talk about as well, but as we...
Hopefully.
I mean, I think it'll pick up. I think that there will definitely be big episodes that we have a lot to talk about. This is just setup. But yeah, it's good to have content. We've got so much content right now, it's not even funny, and it's not stopping. The comics are really pumping out right now. There was some breaks. Obviously, COVID pushed a lot of things back, but we're definitely hitting on all cylinders with comics. And there's still books that have to come out this year, and then obviously Bad Batch for, what did we say, 16 episodes, I think it was?
I believe so, yeah.
So yeah, we've got so much left to do, and we'd really love to hear from you. So if you'd ever like to, give us a holler, holler at us, dog. You can find us on Twitter at TC Plan Podcast. Facebook is obviously there as well. Or if you just want to send us an email, share a theory, or just let us know how we're doing, you can email us, tcplanpodcast@gmail.com. And hey, listen, it'd be really sick if you just rate us 15 stars on Apple Podcasts and
And if you could create some fake accounts to do that multiple times, we'd appreciate that.
I don't know how they do it on Spotify, but I'll be honest. After this last Apple Podcast update, I think I'm done using Apple Podcasts. It sucks. Dude, for the OCD person, which I am not, but if you are OCD, that you would delete that app. They
Really?
won't let you delete anything. Like you'll delete the data, like the download, but it will keep the tile up. And they don't even differentiate it into specific shows. It's just like it's continual.
I couldn't do that.
It is so stupid. I hate it. I don't know if anything's deleted. It's gotten a lot of crap, but they were like, "Oh, we're trying to simplify it because like nobody's using Apple iTunes; they're all using Spotify." Well, yeah, because Spotify is the cool thing right now. You idiots, make it better, make it more streamlined. You know, you used to be able to just swipe across the screen and the episode would delete and it would go away. Now you can't even swipe it across the screen. You swipe it and it gives you a little trash can, so you have to push that, and then you have to confirm that you're deleting it, and then it still stays there. It's just not like the data's not on your phone. It is nuts, and I hate it. And Apple, if you're listening, I want all of our great fans to go on and give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and leave us really nice comments. But Apple, you need to fix that crap because it is terrible. And I don't want to be getting all the bad ratings because your app sucks, because we know that none of our fans would ever leave us a negative rating anywhere.
No.
Except on YouTube. That's fine. I don't care about YouTube.
Yeah. Don't make multiple accounts to give us ratings on that.
No, nobody cares about YouTube. Oh, man. So anyway, any last thoughts before we go ahead and sign off?
No, I think we've about gone through everything.
All right, man. Well, yeah, that's it for us. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force be with you.